I had seen her post on social media. You guys were seeking mothers who had given birth to share their birth story. And I felt the need to message her right away. On January 2nd, I think it was like 8 a.m., I felt a little pressure on my stomach. I wasn't sure what it was at first.
I did not want to leave my two kids behind. The resources for me were very, very limited.
I wasn't sure if I was safe or not because it's like a cultural shock for patients to go down.
Well, I wanted one more boy. I want more. Do you mean I have to stop having babies and there's no choice? So I just accept what they wanted to do.
And then they told me that if it doesn't go to normal, that they would have to stop my heart.
My name is April Matthew, and I am from Tessassi, Quebec. I am currently working for the Career Health Board as a community worker. I found out I was pregnant on May 2021. Well, it was overwhelming. Me and my partner were surprised by it, but over time, we've accepted that we're gonna have a baby. I've decided to tell my family that I was pregnant. They were very happy and very excited. It was my parents' first grandchild. I'm not sure how many weeks I was, but after my appointment with the Awash, they gave me a tour, the birthing home. It was very, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt right to me. They showed me where the room where I'm going to give birth in. Giving birth in my hometown where I was born and raised, I talked about that before I got pregnant, like one day I want my child to be born where I was born. I want my child to feel more connected with his heritage. It's more than just a place for me, January 2nd, let's see, in the morning, I felt a little pressure on my stomach. This was my first child, so I didn't know what it was. So I woke up my partner and I asked him, can you get my mom? So my mom thought maybe it was contractions. I told my mom, text the midwife or call her because I'm not I don't know what I'm feeling, but it's definitely not Braxton Hicks. It's getting stronger. They prepared a tub for me to sit in for a little bit. And at first, I didn't think of much of it at first until I got into the tub, and it felt like so peaceful being in the tub. And it was like my contractions were like not completely gone, but it kind of like decreased the pain. I didn't know what the difference was between giving birth at a birthing home and in the hospital, but being there was definitely like the most peaceful I've ever been. I don't know exactly when my water broke. I was in too much pain to notice. The midwife, she says, it's time for you to push. But I pushed on a different position. Like in front of me, there was this giant ball, and I was in bed, and I was all in four, and I had a giant ball in front of me. The baby's head started to show, and I pushed the baby. Didn't really felt it. Like I didn't use epidural or anything. It was just natural birth for me. He was born with a lot of hair, like, I didn't expect that. So I lay down on my back, and they put like a blanket on him, and he was on my arms, and I've never experienced that. I've never had a little baby, in my arms that I just gave birth to, and it was different kind of love for me. The midwife, she started to make sure I was good, She rubbed my belly and she pushed it, and that's when I started to bleed, like, a lot. I started to hemorrhage, but I was okay. But at the same time, they were kind of concerned with my blood loss. I think it was like almost midnight when I went to the hospital, and I don't know what that was, but when they had to insert some kind of balloon thing inside me and me to stop the bleeding. I don't know what it was, but that's what they did. And when they did that, I didn't really like it, but I had no choice. I think it was around 4 a.m. That's when I got medevac to Montreal. The only thing that was on my mind was, is my baby gonna be okay, And I was a little nervous about being at medevac, because I didn't know what to expect being in Montreal, by myself. The doctors and the nurses they checked up on me probably every hour to make sure I eat, make sure I drink. The nurses always tell me to drink, to pump up more of my milk. Yeah. I tried to pump, but the breast milk, it didn't really come out at first. I think it took like 4 or 5 days after I gave birth. I felt a little disconnected from home a little bit, away from my baby and my mom, everybody there. Every mother wants to bond with their baby, have like a skin-to-skin contact thing. And I was a little sad about that at first, when I had to get medevac, and I didn't have time to do that with my baby after I gave birth. My partner and I, we made a choice not to have more kids. I mean, it's not really for selfish reasons, but it's something that I don't want to go through with it again. We don't really have much resources in Sassy Hospital. So when, let's say, if there's anything like there's complications with birth or after the birth, we don't really have much resources in Sassy, so they have no choice to send me to Montreal. In Montreal, they took care of me, which I'm grateful for. The doctors and the nurses, they always check up on me to make sure I was good. But I wish they let me sleep more.
My name is Francis Abraham. I live in Gutra Rapid. Our community resides with MUHC. It's a twin community. I am half Cree, half Inuit. My pregnancy was a big miracle for me. I was In my early 30s, when I had my first pregnancy, my sister, who is my rock, her beneficiary resides on the pre side. So she gets a different treatment than what I experienced on the inward side. During my pregnancy, I started developing heart palpitations, where my heart would beat like too fast. They just told me, like, it's probably something you're feeling stressed about or having an anxiety. So I just dealt with it, like, on my own. I felt like I was just a general patient that doesn't have any, like, I felt like I wasn't being heard. And it was my first pregnancy, and I just felt neglected. To be honest, I felt neglected. During my mid-pregnancy, I had to prepare to give birth either in POV or no, they didn't give me an option. They told me that I was gonna give birth in POV. But at that time, I felt like I would be better off in Montreal, because I felt neglected in my health care, and I felt like I wanted to be where it would be more accessible if anything happened. Finally being sent to Montreal, and it's a little overwhelming because I have to prepare my house for my baby before I leave. It was difficult to leave my community, but health-wise, I wanted to be taken care of. And going and being at the center where they put patients was a whole different story. It was a very bad experience. The difficult part for me was experiencing the workers at Olympic. It feels like they're already tired of dealing with patients. I felt like I was not really safe. They're too busy with dealing with patients who are under the influence of alcohol. When I checked in at Olympic, they gave me a tag with my name and my health card number and the address of Olympic. And they told me that I have to wear this tag all the time. And it was my identification. It's how they treated me. Because I felt like I was just being a person with a number. I cried a couple of times because of how the nurse was talking to me. It wasn't a fun feeling. But when I had my appointments at Glen site, I felt taken care of. I felt heard finally. I was crying. Sorry. I was crying because I finally felt like the nurses and the doctors are finally hearing my medical attention that I've been wanting, that I didn't have back home. I felt taken care of, and it was an amazing feeling. I had so much questions of my pregnancy, and I got an answer right away. And I can finally breathe. I can finally know what going on with my baby. And I mean, it wasn't a hard pregnancy. It was a very easy pregnancy. But the questions that I had, I was heard. And I was thankful for that. And I wish that we had that here in my community. Okay. The night of November 7th, um, my heart was beating extra, what it felt like extra, and my shortness of breath was more shorter. When I reached the hospital, I had the nurses and the doctors check on me, and they were checking if I was open or not. But the nurse didn't even tell me that he was gonna check. He just went up and did his thing if I was open, dilated. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know what to expect, but okay. The nurses, and I think it was doctors, I'm not sure, but nurses, they were all talking in French and asking questions to the ambulance of what was happening. They were not talking to me. And I was just laying there, just waiting for someone to speak English. And then the afternoon comes. They told me that my C-section is scheduled for 2 o'clock. So I said, okay. Wow, like I'm having my baby today. That's so crazy. Is he even ready to come out? I was having so many questions. I felt like it was just such a little time to inform my family, oh, I'm having my baby today. So after I gave birth, they told me that they're gonna put me to sleep and then I guess sew me back. And I said, okay. And I don't even know how long I was gone for. When I woke up, I was so disoriented, like, okay. My first thought is my baby, and they were transferring me, I guess, to the room where we'll be. And that's where my partner was staying with my baby. I'm like fresh out of surgery and I'm trying to keep up with what everyone is telling me what I need to expect. And it was exhausting after having a C-section. But I gained like my strength every day, every hour, and my baby, I was just obsessed with my baby. During that time, because we were rushing to go to the hospital, I I only had my baby bag, but I didn't have my clothes. I didn't have anything for me. So my partner had to go out of the hospital and get my belongings. I was alone with my baby, and I felt helpless at times and exhausted. But I'm trying to be positive, think positive. At this point, I wished I had my family. My sister, we were FaceTiming and crying, and that's where it's very important to have family. Like, you're in a hospital, you're alone with your baby, and your partner's getting your clothes. I wish I had my sister at that point.
My name is Anita Ankatavuk. I'm from the Cree Nation of Chisasibi. During my pregnancy, I ate a lot of geese, nisk, and we cook geese in a michwap. A michwap is a teepee. Sigabon means you cook it beside the fire, like while it's rotating. And I ate a lot of ptarmigan. In Cree, we call them biao. I ate a lot of rabbit. In Cree, we call it wapsh. I also tried eating a little bit of fish. I know I wasn't supposed to, but I just couldn't. We have a traditional dish where we crumble fish meat with blueberries, and that was my favorite. During the early mornings of September 5th, I started feeling contractions. My mother knew that it was happening. When we got to the hospital, I was in labor for 24 hours. There was a breach. The baby's head was on the left side of my stomach area. So the nurses and doctors suggested immediately that I should be flown to Val-d'Or or Montreal, but I didn't want to. What was going through my mind was fear, because what if I had my baby in the air, or what if they put me to sleep and then I wouldn't wake up, or would I be able to hold my baby? One of the midwives, she told me to go on my knees, put my hands on the floor. For about 4 to 6 contractions, I had to stay that way. I listened to her and I told her, "Are you sure you're not gonna let me fall?" And she told me, "No, I have you." And I told her, "I'm sorry, I'm heavy." And she laughed and laughed and told me, "It's okay, you're not heavy, I'm holding you, I got you." And then they checked my stomach again, and they had fixed the breach. Her head was where it was supposed to be. And I was very happy about that, because the ambulance, the medevac, they were standing on the doorway, and they thought that I wouldn't be able to get through the breach, and they were ready. They were very, very ready for me to go. But I stood my ground. I was like Michto. In Cree, that means bossy. I'm glad I chose to stay here because my great-grandmother was there, my grandmother, my mother, and myself. So we were 4 generations and a 5th one coming out. I felt that it was better for me to be in the water because in my mind, I thought that was where everything was like getting going. And I still remember the water. The water was very warm and that made me happy. Made me calm. And I remember holding my great-grandmother's hand, and I was looking up at her, and she told me that I was doing a very good job. Now, going back to the experiences making me emotional. I haven't thought about it in a very long time. I was extremely exhausted. We have stories or like customs. I'm not sure what to call it, but when I was starting to like yell or scream from the contractions, my great-grandmother would tell me, if you yell and scream, the baby will also carry that with them. But when I did the final push, that's when I had held my daughter in my arms. And then they told me I had to push out my placenta. And I looked at them and I told them, you didn't tell me I had to push out my placenta. So I did. And I kept my placenta. They allowed me to keep it. I buried it very deep, and then I planted a tree over it. I was told by my mother, and she learned it from her mother, and my grandma learned it from my great-grandmother, and so on. I look forward to passing that knowledge to my daughter. The placenta is important because that was where the connection of the baby and the mother, like when they were one. It was my daughter's first, well, obviously her first home, I guess, or like the womb. I couldn't let it go. I'm not sure what to call it in English, but it's called MUHC. The little skin that stays like where they clip it on the baby, on the belly button. I was told by my great-grandmother and my grandmother that if you keep the MUHC, that the baby is not going to feel alone, or the baby will feel that he or she belongs. So I kept it. And I felt that it was also good for me because it's a memory that I can hold. And sometimes I like to look at it and think about that time where everyone was around me, all my family was there. Because today we're like in our own lives, like we still see each other and everything, but that connection that we all had as family during that time of the birth was something else.
My name is Arianne Rupert, and I'm from Saskatchewan, First Nation. My experience giving birth outside the community was not how I imagined it would be. It was hard on our family to come to the outside community because of financial struggle I felt lost. I felt mostly scared to be alone. There was nobody there to support emotionally and mentally after delivery. When I gave birth here with my third, with the midwifery service, in case something happened, the options were to get a medevac plane here, which would take 6 to 12 hours, and that's not enough time to have an active labor medevac, which was scary for me because I already lost liquid for over 24 hours. I was scared to be medevac. I did not want to be away from my kids because the chances were that I would have been staying there 2 weeks, maybe longer. I wanted to stay here, to give birth here, whether it was not the safest option for me, but I still took it. After I delivered, I had a hemorrhage. I was so traumatized because there was no medication to put you to sleep. They have to keep me awake to do the procedure that was required to do, which they had to go in and look for the placenta by hand. That was painful. I wish they would have drugged me or put me to sleep, I believe, or I wouldn't be so traumatized. The healthcare here, not the same as it is that's the healthcare you receive further south. I knew my postpartum was gonna hit harder if I had left. To give birth in a good way for me, it means to be surrounded by friends and family, not to be surrounded by strangers. I wish there was more access to having the baby delivered here through C-section, natural, or everything.
I live here in Inuit for 40 years now. And I have 5 young adult children, 4 girls and 1 boy. I was like wild child, and so I got pregnant that young. I was 16. My belly was growing big and big and big, and after 35 weeks, and then I said, how am I going to take this baby out? After 35 weeks, I had my follow-up every week, and they say, Lily, you have to go to Montreal to deliver the baby for C-section. Oh, okay. I wonder what's a C-section. They send me to Montreal, and they say, Lily, they're going to put you into sleep so you can have your baby. Oh, well, I didn't know what to do. I was alone, and I was just accept what was going on. So they put me to sleep, and my first daughter was born, and they woke me up and they say, happy birthday, your daughter is born. And I was just lying down, and I didn't know about the cesarean, so when I tried to move, and there was so much pain in my belly. They show my daughter. Oh my goodness, the first one. When I go back home, 2 years later, I got pregnant again with my second child. And then they had to send me back to Montreal. My husband, we only can contact on the phone. I can talk with him every day, every day, every day. I call him every day. We keep telling each other that we miss each other. For my second cesarean, the doctor said, Lily, you were sleeping at the first time when you delivered the baby, but now you can be awake. Oh, really? So they started opening my, to have a baby. They pushed my belly, they pushed it, and someone started crying very, very loud, rah, screaming, screaming. I wasn't expecting that the baby was out already. Well, I thought it was going to take longer, and then baby was crying, screaming, and I was thinking, whose baby is that crying? Who is it? I didn't know it was her. And then the last time that I got pregnant, my husband said, well, we were driving around in a nice summer, very hot day. He said, Lily, this time I want to follow you when you deliver this baby. Oh my goodness, really? I was so surprised. Really? Yeah, I want to follow you this time. Oh, okay. I started crying and crying and crying. But then on December 29, 1996, it was cold out, very, very cold, and I was coughing and coughing. But then placenta opened, I started bleeding. Nursing and said, I'm bleeding, I'm bleeding. So they sent me to Montreal. And then on the next day, my husband arrived. Well, I already have my cesarean. And after what happened, this doctor was saying that, Lily, do you still want more a baby? And then I said, of course I still want more baby because I only have one son. I want my son to have a little brother. He seems like he knows something about something. There's no choice that you have to have your duplication. I listened to the doctor because there was no choice. My husband sitting, looking at me, and he's just trying his best to be calm me. This person who is pregnant, it's the glass, the most thin glass that if I yell or if I drop it, it breaks easily.
The time had changed so much from my grandmother's time to today. How we got so disconnected of how they used to give birth. And I hope one day we get to have that back.
Still decided to give birth here, although my third one was tragic, scary. It really took a big mental toll on me.
I wanted to give birth here. And it was my first pregnancy and my only pregnancy.
For my sons, I want him to know that his birth story is special. His birth was beautiful and unique, And I want him to do the same for his child one day.
You're not fighting me now.